podcast made by basketball fans for basketball fans. From the hottest takes, news, analysis, and passion for the sport that we all love, this is the Fast Break Pod with Finn James and Will Tremaine.
Welcome into the Fast Break Podcast, the podcast made by basketball fans.
For basketball fans.
Finn James.
Will Tremaine.
Back again with another episode. We're here with episode number 45, getting also close to that 1 year mark of 52. We're about 7 episodes away. Crazy.
It's going fast, mate.
Very, very fast. We've got a pretty jam-packed episode. There is a lot going on in today's episode.
Despite course, the NBA being wrapped up.
Yeah, NBA wrapped up, but there's still so much news surrounding it. Of course, we'll have the world news. We're going to be looking at the Junior Tall Blacks, the Under-19 Tall Blacks campaign at the World Cup, which just wrapped up. Of course, we'll be looking at round 16 of the Cells NBL, which is the final round of the Cells NBL. The table is
time now.
Playoffs time. Table is all set in stone, and we'll be looking at our final ranking of Round 16's MVPs, and then we will be awarding the Fast Break Cells NBL MVP.
I hope the eventual winner of this award just realizes and is grateful for how massive of an achievement this is. This is going to go down in history. The first ever one, might I add.
I know.
We're going to be looking back at this in 10 years when we have 5 million subscribers. And it's
the whole of New Zealand will be subscribed to us.
Yeah, and it's going to be the most important award for any person to win. And the winner of this year is going to be able to say, I was the inaugural winner of that.
Any sponsors want to get on board, let us know, because we really want to hand deliver this to the winner that we will be announcing later on.
Spoiler
alert? And of course, NBA free agency opened early last week, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, there was a few signings and trades before free agency officially opened, but there has been tons of signings in the last 7 days. Some crazy moves. We won't be breaking them all down, but ones that were big in our eyes. There's still so many that we'll scan our eye over, of course. And if you want to skip to anywhere in the podcast, as always, time codes down below if you want to skip anywhere. But first of all, we'll start with some world news. Will, what's been going on the weekend?
So first of all Blacks are back in action, Finn.
Yes!
Bunch of debutants in this new squad. We got underway with our 3-game test match series against France. Opened up down in Dunedin, Forsyth Bar Stadium. Sellout, I think it was 28,000 people.
It's not bad.
And the All Blacks got the job done. 31-27 against a weaker French team.
It's like a B team.
Kind of like their B team. They do have some of the top players in the squad. But yeah, to just scrape through with a 4-point win, don't know how good to feel about that one, considering it was our top team.
Against their B team.
Against their B team. But yeah, a win's a win. Hopefully we can just go on and get another 2 wins in this series, close it out 3-0, and just get better each game.
There was 3 disallowed tries in this game.
There was.
To be fair. Obviously, the TMO made the right call.
Yeah.
It does frustrate me a little bit how much the TMO can get involved. But
it is fair at the end of the day, I guess.
Oh, bit of other rugby results that I saw as well. Scotland beat the Māori All Blacks by about 3 points that same night, and the Wallabies played Fiji, and they won 28-18 over Fiji. It was a very close game.
And also the Lions played the Waratahs. They're making their way through those Australian Super Rugby teams, and they only got through, I think it was 21-10 over the Waratahs.
Damn.
So the Lions season continues to be a bit disappointing in my eyes. They obviously started off their tour with that loss to Argentina.
Yeah, but they've beaten those 3 Super Rugby teams.
As they should.
Obviously.
But they should be smashing them, not 21-10 win over the Waratahs.
They destroyed the Force, and they destroyed the Reds. But the Waratahs, I think they must play the Brumbies soon as well then.
Yeah.
And then obviously they'll play
Wallabies.
I think there's 3 tests against Wallabies. Oh, and they have the that combined New Zealand and Australia team they'll be playing against too.
Yeah.
Few Kiwi players that missed out on the All Blacks are in that, including David Harvey.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
It will be.
Some other world news, Finn. Liam Lawson qualified 16th for the British Grand Prix, and it was a quick race for him. I think it was lap 4 or 5. He got ran into by I think it was Esteban Ocon. Someone fact check me if I'm wrong with that. Obviously ending his hopes at the race. So another disappointing race for Liam, but kind of out of his hands. Bit of unluck going his way. Bad luck, sorry. So
I saw the third place winner of this Grand Prix has had a 15-year F1 career, and it was the first time he finished on the podium.
Nico Hulkenberg.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Yeah, he's never really been in a fast enough car. He's kind of just been like that journeyman in the weaker teams.
15-year career is crazy.
But yeah, congrats to him finally making a podium.
Yeah, and one thing we do want to just highlight as well, the sad passing of Liverpool striker, the 28-year-old Portuguese man Diego Jota. Rest in peace to the great man. Very unfortunate news. We won't cover it too much. Obviously, this isn't really our place to talk too much on it, but rest in peace to the young man who has a very young family and was only married about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Him and his brother, yeah.
Very
Sad.
unfortunate.
Was he a striker?
Yeah, he was a forward, wing striker. But yeah, he died in a car crash with his brother.
Terrible.
In Europe. So very sad. Rest in
RIP.
peace to Diogo Jota.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Before we get into the NZNBL, I just wanted to highlight the Junior Tall Blacks, Will, who have finished 4th in the world in the Under-19 FIBA World Cup. This is a pretty remarkable, I think, finish to their tournament, if you ask me.
That's massive. 4th in the world over
Huge.
teams like Australia, who we went further than. Obviously made the semis. Up until the semis, we'd been absolutely phenomenal. We got those wins over Switzerland, I think it was, in the quarters, Finn. And then, weren't many expectations going up against USA. And, it was 120 to 62, I think,
64,
final score.
I think,
Got destroyed in that one, but can't drop your heads after that because, I mean, everyone gets done that hard by the US when they have AJ Dibansa, future number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
But,
And Team USA went on to win the final against Germany as well, pretty convincingly in the final as well. But, I think they lost 64 to 120. That's... you say it's embarrassing, but this Team USA team, one, is far bigger than us.
Yeah.
The whole team is like 5-star recruits almost as well. A lot of these guys going to major or mid-major schools next year in the NCAA, or some I think are already there. This is Under-19 World Cup. AJ Dibansa, Tyron Stokes, Noah Pete, all on this team. All like top, I don't know, I'd say 10. Top 10 in their class.
And they're not, there's like players that were missing from this team that could have been like elite. Cameron Boozer, Darren Peterson, they weren't playing. So, I mean, the fact that they just won this tournament that easily without even their best team possible is crazy. I mean, if you go watch the highlights of this game, I swear almost every single bucket they were getting was a dunk. Just that's how athletic they were. They were just getting by with ease and slamming down everything.
So I got up and watched this game. It was 6 a.m., I think, yesterday morning. And the thing that Team USA did so much better than every other team in the competition was if you missed a shot and they got a stop, they'd just push it so fast. And they're scoring within like 10 seconds, 7-second offense type thing, just getting to the rim. They were just far more athletic and far faster than every other team in the tournament, including us in particular. Julius Halafanua did actually drop like 15 points on them though, so that's really good signs for the young Kiwi.
Some big blocks.
He'll be some big blocks. He's going into his 2nd season at Georgetown next year after missing most of the year with an ankle injury. So really good signs from Julius Halafanua. And they played in the bronze medal match this morning against Slovenia. Unfortunately, like I said, they finished 4th, so they did lose 87 to 91. So a very, very close game.
Yeah.
Unfortunate to go down. Oscar Goodman, who was one of the key pieces of this team, went down with a foot injury within the first 4 minutes of the game. So with him out, they were a little bit under. I mean, they lost some size. He's a bigger dude. Definitely, he's going to Michigan next season, so he's a very good player. And Jackson Ball did struggle quite a bit in this game. But
I thought he was going to be that guy on this team, but
me too.
Kind of Hayden Jones stepped up and kind of filled that role, didn't he?
Hayden Jones
I think he was the best player throughout this tournament for us.
100%. Hayden Jones was unreal in this tournament. He had 23 points and 4 blocks and 7 boards or something against Switzerland in the quarterfinal. He was okay against Team USA, and then I think he had 21 points in this game against Slovenia, so he almost did it. And Tama Isaac, brother of Kaya Isaac from the Canterbury Rams, also was really good in this tournament, was amongst some of the best players when it came to assists per game in this tournament too. I think he was averaging near 7.
Is he going to be back now in time for the playoffs for the Canterbury Rams?
I would think so, yeah. Obviously, Hayden Jones will miss out. Then Nelson Giants, we'll be getting to that soon. Nelson Giants and Jackson Ball as well. But yeah, I think Tama Isaac will be back, and he's a pretty big piece for the Canterbury Rams.
Great off the bench. Should we get into the NZNBL though?
We shall.
Round 16, the final round. I'll quickly run off the scores, and then we'll break down some of the games closer, the ones that were meaningful. So Saints got the win over the Rams, 90 to 84. The Tauranga Phi beat the Jets, 103-93. Sharks beat the Giants, 91-87. The Airs beat the Nuggets, 93-83. Tuatara destroyed the Hawks, 96-67. The Nuggets ended the Jets' playoff hopes with a 101-95 win. And to round out the last game of the regular season, the Rams beat the Bulls 107-91. Finn, any of these games stand out to you? Some big, meaningful implications?
Quite a few. Yeah. Going into this round, I think it was spots 5 to 6 was still up for grabs in the playoffs. I think 1 till 4 was already kind of set in stone. The first game of the round, Wellington Saints hosting the Rams at home.
That was for the first place.
Yeah, so the Saints got the job done, and that was them securing them as the first seed.
Yeah.
And going into this round, the Tauranga Fire needed to win both of their games, and the Jets needed to lose both of their games for the Tauranga Fire to get through, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, they had one game Tauranga, but yeah, it was a must-win for them.
Oh, they only had one. My apologies. The Jets needed to lose both games if the Tauranga Fire wanted to make it through, and it's exactly what happened. It was unlikely, but the Tauranga Fire got that 10-point win over the Jets at home, and then the Jets went and lost the bottom of the table Nuggets at home at the second last game of the season, and that wrapped up their season, unfortunately, which was crazy.
Surprising, considering the Nuggets had nothing to play for. Obviously, bottom of the table, and they still managed to go out there and get the win. Obviously, Corey Webster's loss didn't help the Jets at all.
I don't think Dante Russo-Nance played in that last win game.
Just carried by their imports.
And you know what's crazy? I think the Jets were missing Donald Carey Jr., who was probably one of their better players this season too.
The Nuggets?
Yeah. Oh, the Nuggets, sorry. The Nuggets were missing Donald Carey Jr., which is...
Yeah.
It's one of their better players in the season.
They just made it their goal. They were like, our playoff hopes are done, but we're going to go out there and end the Jets' playoff chances.
Just piss these guys off down in Manawa too. And of course, the Auckland Tuatara needed to get the win down in Hawke's Bay.
Yeah.
We spoke about it on the podcast last week. We thought Hawke's Bay had nothing to play for. Maybe they would enter a slightly weaker team going into this game.
Jackson Ball was missing,
but I think majority of the players were there. Dan Greeder, Lukey Yates, Wani Swakala Bullock were all there. But they got a 30-point win, and that gave them the 5th seed going into the playoffs. So they'll be up against the Southland Sharks in the first round of the play-in tournament.
Still a chance at a home final for the Tuatara if them and the Tauranga Fire can go the whole way.
So now if we have a look at the table, Will, is this what you expected going into this season?
I thought the Rams were going to top of the table,
Same.
but second place, I mean, close enough. Obviously, that last game of the round against the Saints determined their fate. But 1 and 2, Saints and Rams, I thought maybe the Tuatara could have been up there as a top 3 team, but not super surprised. Saints 1, Rams 2. Airs and Sharks at 3 and 4, maybe a bit surprising, but the Sharks' 3 imports, I think, have been the best 3 imports of any team this entire season. Kalen Boone, Josiah Alec, Caleb Asbury, all been absolute, perfect pieces on that team.
And their new coach as well, Jonathan Yim, come from America. He's done some wonders for that club.
I mean, Josiah Alec's probably the best rebounder in the league. I think he led the league in rebounds. Caleb Asbury, I think he led the league in assists, one of the best playmakers at the point guard position. And then obviously Kalen Boone, just an absolute sniper, bucket from anywhere.
So. And that mid-season pickup, Sam Timmons, was huge for them as well, just quietly.
They're a sneaky dark horse, in my opinion.
I agree. I 100% agree with you.
It's going to be tough because they're playing the Tuatara in the first round at home in Invercargill. So big ask for the Tuatara, but hopefully they can get the job done down there.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. Taranaki Airs, they start off the season very strongly. I mean, they had Harry Froling and Owen Foxwell. That was the reason they were doing so well. Harry Froling obviously wasn't supposed to be there for the whole year. He wasn't returned home, played NBL 1. He actually signed a 1-year deal with the Illawarra Hawks for next season, which is awesome, considering he'd missed 3 years of professional basketball with that head injury he got in town. So for him to come back, make his mark in the New Zealand League, and then sign another contract in Australia for the NBL season. Yeah. What a story, man! What an absolute crazy story from Harry.
We did a little bit of a thing on that in a previous episode. If you guys want to go back and watch it, I think the episode was titled after Harry Froling himself.
It was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how far the Airs go in this playoff run. Owen Foxwell was very important to this team. So was Froling. Obviously, they still have Carlin Davidson.
Bucket.
Yeah, of course. And they still have the American import.
Armin Fletcher.
Armin Fletcher. The name escaped me. That's so poor. Armin Fletcher's been very good. I think it was his second season on Taranaki as well this year. But he's been great. Jack Andrews stepped up very crazily this year. Unexpected from the big man.
And they're going to be playing the Tauranga Fire in the first round. So Mojave King with an opportunity for the upset there.
I did not expect the Tauranga Fire to be in the playoffs. No. I promise you. If you look at the start of the season, they had a decent team. Their import problems that they had, obviously both imports got released.
Yeah.
I thought maybe their season goes down the drain. The Mojave King signing saved their whole season.
And Zach Rosetto as well.
And Zach Rosetto was huge.
Yeah, they've just turned their season around, and now they have a chance to, they've made the playoffs, see how far they can go. Should we do our quick predictions, Finn, for these playoffs? Obviously, the Saints and the Rams are through. We got the Airs versus the Fi. The winner of that will play the Rams. and then we got the Sharks. Tuatara, winner of that, will play the Saints.
Okay.
So who do you got in the Taranaki Airs versus the Tauranga Whai? In Taranaki.
I think the Airs probably get it done. Been a pretty good home team this year. I think it's going to be quite hard to contain players like Carlin Davidson in this game. But the thing that Mo King has done this year, when he is on fire, he is on fire.
Yeah.
43 points he had last week.
Yeah.
So if he can produce some magic, there could be an upset, but I'm definitely heavily leaning towards the Taranaki Airs. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as you, Finn. I think the Airs are going to get the job done in this one. It's going to be a battle between Carlin and Mojave for most of this one. But I think the Airs just have better pieces around Carlin than the Tauranga Whai have around Mojave, in my opinion.
Yeah,
they just have a
sense.
better, stronger, deeper team. So I'm going to take the Airs in that one, especially at home as well.
Fair enough. What about the Southland Sharks and the Auckland Tuatara in Invercargill as well, by the way?
In Invercargill. These two teams played, was it last week?
Yeah.
And
the
I
week before we
believe
went to
the Sharks, the Sharks got the...
They lost.
They
They won.
They won that one,
They won
yeah.
that one. Keelan Boone went crazy.
Sam Timmins as well, I think, did well in
Yeah.
that one. And that was in Auckland. Obviously, the bias side of me, I want the Tuatara to win this one and get the job done. But I'm going to take my bias hat off. And I think, unfortunately, this is going to be the end of the road for the Tuatara. I'm going to pick the Sharks to win this one in Invercargill.
I'm on the same page as you, my friend. The Rob Lowe injury has caused a bit of it's thrown a bit of a spanner in the works. Obviously, one of the better players on the team this year, and he got that ankle niggle back. I don't know what round it was, but it was
the Airs,
I think. Was it the Airs? I think it was the
In
Airs.
Taranaki.
Yeah, in Taranaki, and he hasn't been the same since. He missed, I think, the following game, and then I heard that he was not really training, just doing 5-on-5 stuff, and then he'd play the games.
Yeah.
So he must have been playing through whatever he's done. And then I think it was the game against the Giants. He suited up, was named as a starter, so he had to start, fouled straight away, and he sat out ever since. Whether he's back for the playoffs or not, I'm not sure. We'll probably be able to find that out maybe
Soon.
before the next game. But
Yeah.
if they're without Rob Lowe, they're going to be in trouble because who is going to contain Sam Timmins?
Dan Fotu's been amazing since he signed with the Tuatara. But yeah, Sam Timmins, he's an absolute unit. Maybe a bit too big for Dan Fotu, who's more of a natural 4, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we've seen what Fotu can do, like, on the rebounding side of the ball. Offensive rebounds, he's an absolute beast. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think they need Rob Lowe for a chance to win this one, unfortunately. Barring a Dylan Wilkie masterclass from 3, maybe goes on there, just catches fire, 20-point run just from 3s. Who knows? But yeah, I have to lean with the Sharks. Those 3 imports that I just mentioned before have just been phenomenal for them. Plus Sam Timmins as well.
It's going to be hard to contain them.
Yeah.
I reckon what they're going to do is chuck Tom Vodanovic on Sam Timmins. Tom Vodanovic has a little bit more size than Fotu, despite being quite a little, probably like 2 inches shorter than Dan Fotu. I think he'll be able to contain Sam Timmins a little bit better.
He's a unit down low.
Yeah. Dan Fotu will probably be put on Josiah Alec, which is going to be no easy task. Josiah Alec, he has proven to be one of the best players in this league.
Yeah.
He's proven to be the best rebounder in this league, but Dan Fotu has also proven to be one of the best rebounders in this league too, so that's going to be an absolute battle.
But, I mean,
Caleb Asbury's going to... He's going to be one of those players that needs to be contained. I think Luther Muhammad could do a number on him, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Luther Muhammad is kind of the like, center point for the Tuatara in this one. Like, if he can just get cooking, like we saw the other week when he dropped, like, 36, when he just gets going, like, he could win this game single-handedly for the Tuatara almost. So
He could.
A lot of it is going to rely on how well Luther Muhammad plays in this game. But, yeah, again, it's a tall task. Hopefully they can get the job done, though.
I'd love
We'll be
to
rooting
see it
for them.
happen. Well, yeah, obviously, Dylan Wilkie, good, like, very close friend of ours. Would be
Yeah.
great to see him in the semi-finals. But, yeah, I think if I had to call it, gun to the back of my head, I think I'd have to go down with Southland in this game.
Yeah. And then should we just go ahead and do the rest of our playoff predictions, Finn?
We should.
Since we both got the Sharks in the Airs making it through. So that would be Sharks versus the Saints in round 2.
In
Where are you
Wellington.
leaning that one?
Probably leaning a little bit heavier towards Wellington. I mean, obviously, they've been the better team all year. They've got players like Nick Marshall, Isaiah Liafa. Hiram Harris has been really good this year as well. I think just a little bit more cohesion, potentially. I just think they're going to get the job done. I mean, 16 wins in a year. That's pretty impressive.
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Sharks are going to get the upset win in this one.
Okay.
I got to ride with the team that's knocked out my team. And like I've said, I'm just so impressed by their 3 imports. I think they couldn't have chosen better imports to surround this team with. So I'm going to go with the upset win for the Southland Sharks over the Wellington Saints, who have been at times a little bit all over the place. Their roster's kind of been changing up a lot throughout the season, whereas I feel that the Southland Sharks have more continuity throughout the year.
Yeah, no Shea Ely's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's missed a lot of the season with that concussion he got earlier on, and they thought he'd be back, but then it got announced not long ago that he'd be missing the remainder of the season. So
Yeah.
I think it's a coin toss, that game. But I think I'm going to go to the Saints, considering just how much better they've been as a team this year.
Yeah, fair enough.
The other semi-final, Canterbury Rams versus Taranaki Airs in Canterbury. I think this is going to be a great game.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning Canterbury in this one. I think they've been the best team all season, despite finishing second place. I don't think this one's even going to be close, to be perfectly honest. I think in Canterbury, I think they're going to quite handedly take care of the Taranaki Airs, who are obviously missing Froling, Foxwell, kind of become a little bit weaker of a team as the season's progressed. So I'm going to go with the Rams in that one, Finn.
Yeah, same as me. I think the Rams get this job done. To be fair, they went on a bit of a downward slope in the back end of the season. I think they dropped 3 or 4 on the trot. Obviously, managed to wrap it up against the Franklin Bulls to end on a positive. But that game against Wellington they lost, and I think they lost 3 in a row before that as well. Might need to fact check me on that, but I know they lost a number of games in a row. But like you said, they've been the best team all year. Tama Isaac will be back, who was a very underrated young player. Kai Isaac's been exceptionally good. Tohi
The
Smith-Milner
bench is just so deep.
The Tohi Smith-Milner pickup was great this season. Walter Brown's been good. Taylor Britt. They have a great team.
Max Darling and CJ Pena off the bench as well.
Yeah. Very, very good team. I think the Rams would get it done. And if we head to the final, I have the Saints versus the Rams. I think the Rams go back to back to back, get the 3-peat done. In Wellington, it would be as well.
My one would be Rams versus Sharks
in Canterbury.
Two of the most southern teams in the league. I'm the same. I think Canterbury would end the Southland Sharks' dream run here and become 3-peat champions as well.
Crazy.
So, stay tuned.
Crazy. Canterbury Rams. We'll do it all again. And I think this time next week we will have the final all set in stone, actually. I think both semi-finals and the play-in tournament, the play-in games and the semi-finals, I think will be wrapped up by the time next Monday.
Right.
So we'll have the final to preview, and then we'll be all done and dusted.
Come on, Tuatara.
All right, well, let's get into week 13 of the Fast Break podcast Sal's NBL MVP. This is the last
Final
week,
one.
and right after this, we will be announcing the overall winners of the award as well.
Massive.
But where do we start this week? Will, at number 3.
Number 3, we had to chuck him on here. Quinton Rose of the Manawatu Jets. Unfortunately, his season has come to an end. They did lose 2 games on the week, but we got to highlight the fact that he had 40 points against the Phi, and then another solid 25 points against the Nuggets. So 2 big scoring performances from Quinton Rose. Had to sneak him on there at number 3 with 1 point for the Jets. Who do we have at number 2, Finn?
We have Isaiah Liafa of the Wellington Saints, who had a 32-point performance against the Canterbury Rams in Wellington, and that clinched them the first seed of the season. So I think this is a very important game that needed to be highlighted. Shout out to Isaiah Liafa with 32 points, who is at number 1.
And at number 1, like you mentioned, important games. This was also a must-win game for the Auckland Tuatara in Hawke's Bay against the Hawks. They got the job done, won by 30 points to clinch the 5 seed, and they were led by none other than Boy Tuak, who finished with 29 points on 11 for 12 shooting, Finn. 5 for 5 from 3. So an extremely efficient game from him. Big step up. He'd kind of been struggling in the last few games for the Tuatara. So that's what you need, those kind of performances, especially heading into the playoffs. And who knows, if he can put together a performance like that with Luther Muhammad on fire, Dylan Wilkie off the bench, Charles Pride catching fire, they could just get the job done against the Southland Sharks. Who knows?
You're high on them.
Yeah, I am.
I would be too.
We'll see.
And this is where we finally announce the overall winner. You've all been waiting for it. With 13 weeks in the making, the Fast Break podcast Sal's NBL MVP for the 2025 season.
It's not even one person.
We'll start with third place, Will.
Third place, the very honourable 6 points total. I'll quickly remind you that the way it worked is first place on the week would get 3 points, second place would get 2 points, third place would get 1 point. So third place on the season was 6 points total from the Southland Sharks, Keelan Boone. Congratulations.
I'm not surprised that he's here, to be honest. He's been very good all year.
Yeah.
So he gets third place. We don't have a second place winner.
No.
Because we actually
Have two
have
first
got
place.
2 first place winners with a combined 7 points.
Yeah.
And 2 players that I honestly, one of them I didn't think had featured all that often on here, but
Yeah. We've
to
gone back
to
and-
our surprise, he's a combined winner.
We've gone and tallied it all up, so you can go back and fact check us.
No
on any of
bias.
the weeks. No bias at all.
So our combined winners we have Jeremy Combs from the Nelson Giants and Luther Muhammad from the Auckland Tuatara.
Hey!
Both with 7
7
points on the season. Well
Yeah.
deserved. Did you expect this? I had a feeling Jeremy Combs would be up there. Obviously came in halfway-ish, maybe a little bit before. For
Same
the
with
Nelson
Luther.
Giants. Luther Muhammad obviously replaced Will Hickey.
Yeah. Well, Hickey finished close as well with 5 points still, despite
Yeah.
leaving after only a few games.
I know. Jeez, if he had stayed here for the entire season, he probably would have ran
he
away with
had
this
that
this award.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's all we've got for the hand awarded prize for either of these men if they would like to.
I mean, Luther would be a bit more logistical reasons would be easier for us, just down the road. Jeremy Combs, maybe he's probably back in the States now. If you want to shout out a trip to the States.
He's probably already gone. Their season's all done and dusted, unfortunately, but we still get to see Luther Muhammad and Keelan Boone getting it done in the playoffs.
I mean,
That's exciting.
we predicted before we did the tallying, who we thought would be our winners. I thought Keelan Boone, who finished in third place. Who did you think, Finn?
I think I was
we
the
both,
same.
We're both thought Keelan Boone featured quite a bunch,
Yeah.
which I think he did, but they were quite a lot of like second and third places where he got 1 and 2 points. Whereas Luther and Jeremy, I think they had a couple of like first place finishes
And second
with
place
3
as well.
points. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's
congratulations.
That's our first ever Fast Break Podcast Sales MVL MVP award. We'll be doing it next year too.
Yeah.
The 2026 season. And despite, all these players are imports. Who knows if they're back next year? But
Who
maybe
knows?
they will be. Maybe they come back just to try and get this award.
Who's the best chance at like a local winning it in future years, do you think, Finn?
Carlin Davidson.
Carlin
That
Davidson.
is my take. Maybe
That was
next
your
year.
prediction at the start of the year, wasn't it?
It was.
For our winner. How many did he finish? I think he had 5 points as well. Same as
He
Will
was,
Hickey.
he was around there. Played very
Yeah.
well. Played very well. But that is our winners this year. I have a feeling that this is not going to be even close to the actual Sal's NBL MVP winner. I have a
Yeah.
feeling that's going to maybe drop down to somebody in Southland.
Right. Yeah.
Either Josiah Alec or Keelan Boone, I reckon, get the job done in terms of the actual Sal's NBL MVP.
But that one's not as important as we've already mentioned.
Of course not. This is far
Fast
more
break.
important.
And make sure, guys, when we make a clip of this, it's going to go up. Make sure you tag Luther Muhammad, Jeremy Combs, Keelan Boone. Tag them all down below in the comments. Send it to them. We want them to see that they are the winners of the Fast Break Podcast MVP.
I reckon they would be ecstatic. Let's move on to NBA free agency, though. So much has happened in the last week. Obviously, last week we were talking about the NBA draft.
Yeah. I think there were a few trades would been over, but
Maybe a
free
couple.
agency
Was there any
officially-
signings? There might have been a couple signings
Maybe a
as
couple.
well. But now that NBA free agency was fully open, a lot of free agents have moved or re-signed, and there's been a few trades as well that we would like to highlight. We've got a pretty extensive list here, and shall we start at the top? Not the tippity top, because we'll save that one.
We'll
for
run
later.
through the extensions and the signings real quick, and then we'll spend maybe a little bit more time talking about the trades and specifically our two own teams, the Clippers and the Blazers, what moves they've made. But should we quickly just run through some of these extensions that someone out there might care about?
Go on then.
Jaren Jackson Jr., 5-year extension with the Grizzlies. Santi Aldama also signed with a 3-year extension with the Grizzlies. Dorian Finney-Smith, has moved on from the Lakers, signed a 4-year deal with the Rockets. That's pretty big, I think.
That's a huge signing. I would have thought the Lakers would have tried to definitely keep him on.
Yeah.
I think he only played like 17 games.
Rockets
for the
get
Lakers.
deeper.
The Rockets are really good next year. I
Yeah.
think they're going to be genuine contenders.
Oh, for sure.
Obviously, the Thunder are going to be that number one team you're going to try and beat again. But I think with the Rockets, with the lineup that they've built, with Kevin Durant at the helm now, they're going to be there or thereabouts.
Stay tuned for our way too early season predictions.
That's
of
going to be a
where the
while
teams
away.
are
There's
gonna
still
be.
going to be so many.
Yeah.
There's going to be lots of moves, I think, before the start of the season.
Another fairly big signing, D'Angelo Russell signed 2 years with the Mavericks to obviously injury cover for Kyrie whilst he
This is
recovers
a
from that ACL.
Cheap deal as well. I think it was like 13 million for 2 years.
His value's really just dropped off, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I think he'll be a good piece off the bench once Kyrie's back, and hopefully he can like run the helm of that offense whilst Kyrie's out.
I think the Mavericks are going to be a pretty good team next year.
Yeah.
Just quietly.
For
Despite the ridiculous trade they made. AD is going to be healthy. Kyrie Irving, I think he might be back for the back end of the season.
Maybe.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Cooper Flag,
Yeah.
He's going to be great, hopefully.
Bruce Brown is back with the Nuggets on a 1-year deal. Obviously won that chip with them, so pretty big reunion there for them. Kevon Looney signed 2-year deal with the Pelicans.
You know, I did not expect this at all. I never thought Kevon Looney was going to leave the Warriors. He's been there forever.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty minor. I don't think he's going to contribute much on that Pelicans team, especially behind Yves Missi.
Well, who are the bigs on the Warriors now?
Good question.
Do they even have one?
Trace Jackson-Davies?
Oh, and Quinton Post.
Quinton Post.
Jeez, now,
Yikes.
what's worse, the Lakers' big man rotation? Well, actually, to be fair,
It's got to be the Warriors now.
it'll be the Warriors now. Yeah.
Clint Capella is back with the Rockets as well on a 3-year deal. I don't like this one
It's
because
a random ass sign.
that's going to take away minutes from our boy Steve-O. Hopefully not.
I don't
though.
reckon it does.
Yeah.
They obviously Sengun will start at the 5.
Yeah.
Going forward this
Stevie's
season.
got to be the first one off the
Steven Adams signed that 3-year. I think it was 39 million. So he's worth quite a bit more than Clint Capella.
bench. Yeah,
I think
as he should be.
Well, yeah, he played.
Clint Capella's washed.
I think. Yes, correct. I think Steven Adams played a huge part in the Rockets' postseason run.
For sure.
Obviously, they got bounced in the first round, but he was very important in that Warriors series. I think he definitely deserved that 3-year deal.
Yeah.
I think he'll be playing quite a lot of minutes. Clint Capella's there just because, I mean, Steven Adams is getting old.
I heard rumors they were like going to ship on Clint Capella because they couldn't afford
Straight
to
away.
pay him or something. But
Well, I haven't seen anything on
yeah,
that
who
yet.
knows? We'll see
Yeah.
what happens with that.
Yeah.
Karis LeVert to the Pistons on a 2-year deal. The
Great
Pistons have
pickup.
been making great moves this
Great
offseason, Finn. I think
Great
one of the
pickup.
best off-season teams so far.
One of them. That's a good pickup.
Nikhil Alexander-Walker has signed a 4-year deal with the Hawks. This is another team that have made some great moves, in my opinion. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, extremely underrated, in my opinion.
He was great on the Wolves
elite
last season.
defender.
Yes.
And I think now that he's going to have a bigger role on the Hawks, I think he could be maybe like, dare I say, one to watch out for MIP next year.
Oh, okay.
We'll see.
Don't hate it. Nah, it's a good pickup for the Hawks.
Yeah.
Gives some much needed defense and good
That Trae
3-point.
Young can't offer.
Yeah, and a good 3-point shooter as well.
Yeah.
Tyus Jones to the Magic for 1 year. His experiment on the Suns kind of failed.
Yeah.
They had Tyus Jones and Monte Morris, and I thought with those two as pure point guards, giving Devin Booker some less pressure on the ball, I thought they were going to be good last year. Tyus Jones had one of the highest assist-to-turnover ratios as well on Washington the season before,
Yeah.
and I thought they were going to be great, and then it didn't work. They shipped them off to the bench. Monte Morris got pushed even deeper, and then the Suns finished 11th in the West. So, I mean, they've moved on from him, which, honestly, I'm quite surprised.
I think it's a good signing for the Magic. I think he's perfect backup point guard to Jalen Suggs.
I agree.
Off the bench.
100% agree with
Playmaker. You know he's not really going to give you any buckets, but he's...
Good player, though.
Yeah, he's going to make the right passes and not pass any turnovers. So, good signing.
Luke the Nuke Kennard, 1-year deal with the Hawks. He was one of my favorite players when he was on the Clippers. We traded him for a bag of chips, unfortunately. I think we got Eric Gordon out of that trade. I still
We traded him to the...
I can't remember where we traded him to, but that trade
Pistons?
still pisses me off to this day. He was so good for us.
Yeah.
And I think it was like 2 seasons ago, and then he just got kind of bounced around. Pretty good player on the Grizzlies, and the Hawks just add a bit more shooting to their roster as well. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, in my opinion. That could be a bit biased, considering he has a special place in my heart, but Luke Kennard off to the Hawks.
Yeah. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander signed a 4-year, $285 million extension. I believe this is the biggest contract per year for a player in NBA history.
Hold on, I need to do some math real quick.
72 million, I believe it is. 72.5 million. Fact check me on that, Finn. Live calculation.
Oh my god, 71 million a year.
Okay, bit off.
That's ridiculous.
Massive.
That's more than a million. That's like 1 point
I
something
think-
million a week.
He just surpassed the previous biggest for an American sports player was Shohei Ohtani. signing a 10-year, $700 million deal with the Dodgers.
Oh, that's more.
So he was on $70 million a year. I think Shea just surpassed
Canadian.
him. 71.5.
Canadian.
Yeah.
Damn.
Massive signing.
Jeez.
Oh,
speaking of extensions, we didn't write it down. LeBron James exercised his player option as well. $51.7 million a season. So he obviously returns for next year.
Yeah.
Bryce James is going to Arizona this coming college season.
God.
Does he get drafted?
We could be seeing a 45-year-old LeBron James.
45. He might be done though.
Yeah.
I think this might be his last year. He'll announce that soon. Oh, and also,
I think so.
just saw that while we're here, Chris Paul announced that next season will be his last season in the NBA.
Still hasn't signed anywhere yet.
No, free agent. A few teams are interested, including the Clippers, which
And
I think would be
Portland.
a great. Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't want him, but
I think the Clippers would be a cool reunion.
Yeah, that
kind
would
of.
be
Whereas obviously he was good on the Hornets, but
yeah.
I think he sort of made wavelengths on the Clippers.
Some
Sorry,
other
that was a bit of a side note,
smaller
I
ones.
apologize.
Dennis Schroeder to the Kings on a 3-year, $45 million contract. I think
That's
this
a
is,
lot.
in my opinion, the worst signing of the offseason. $15 million a year for Dennis Schroeder.
a lot.
I don't think he's worth that.
That is a lot.
Another terrible signing. Jakob Poeltl with a 4-year extension to the
It was
Raptors.
$107 million.
Yeah, he's
For
getting
Jakob
paid like
Poeltl.
$28 million a year.
That's
That
a
is
lot.
insane.
That's a lot.
So those are my two bad signings of free agency personally.
Mm.
Tim Hardaway to the Nuggets on a 1-year deal.
Good signing.
pickup.
Great
Yeah.
pickup. Adds a bit more 3-point depth. Yeah, I like it. He was a bit better last season. He has struggled in the past. I think he was pretty bad on the Mavericks. I'm not going to lie, a few seasons ago.
He's decent on the
I thought he
Pistons.
was solid on the Pistons. So
Yeah.
I think this is a good signing for the Nuggets, of course.
Speaking of the Pistons, the guy they've got in to replace him essentially, Duncan Robinson,
Great
has signed
signing.
on a 3-year deal. So yeah, great pickup for the Pistons. Obviously a bit more youth than Tim Hardaway Jr. Kind of his role kind of depleted over time on the Miami Heat. So hopefully he's going to get a bigger role in the Pistons because that guy's an absolute sniper when he's on form, isn't he, Finn?
Yeah, Duncan Robinson's a great player.
Yeah.
Love his work.
Mike Brown has signed as a head coach for the Knicks.
I don't know if is it official yet. I'm not sure. It's
think so.
really it's leaning towards this way that
Yeah.
Mike Brown will be heading over there.
How do you like that?
Did he win Coach of the Year on the Kings?
I can't remember.
I'm not sure. He was up there though. He was good. He was
Yeah.
good. I think he's a good coach. I don't know. I don't really have much to say on this.
Neither.
How much is a coach? I mean, obviously a coach is going to bring a lot, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think anyone's better than Tom Thibodeau overplaying every player for the offseason. So, Mike Brown, former Kings coach, don't hate it at all.
Lastly, before we get into some of our own team's moves, Cam Whitmore was traded to Washington for 2 second-round picks. I think great trade for Washington here, Finn. I think he's worth more than 2 seconds, and he's going to have a much bigger role on Washington now, so we could really see him break through and shine as well.
I think he's going to flourish. I
Yeah.
think he just needed that opportunity to kind of spread his wings and fly.
For sure.
We have missed one. Michael Porter Jr. and a
Right.
first to the Brooklyn Nets for Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
If I'm a Nuggets fan, I'm ecstatic by this, by the way. Michael Porter Jr. is an injury-prone, has no ability to dribble the ball, in my opinion.
Catch and shoot.
Great shooter, but so is Cam Johnson. And his contract is way better than Michael Porter Jr.'s. So I think this is an excellent signing.
Better defender as well than Michael Porter Jr.
I think he's a more complete scorer than MPJ as well, just
Yeah.
quietly. I think this is a great pickup for the Nuggets for next season. I
Denver's
think
had a
the
sneaky good offseason.
Nuggets are going to be good, man. Bruce Brown returning too was a
Tim
huge
Hardaway.
piece in that 2023 playoff run as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was a big signing.
And the Nuggets had to give up a first in that, but I think that's valid.
Yeah.
I think still a win for the Nuggets. In
I
that
think
trade.
so as well. And of course, DeAndre Ayton. This is a big one. This is one of your boys.
Yeah, we'll get into what's happening with Portland. DeAndre Ayton, we waived him. I thought we were going to trade him. I thought we were for sure going to be able to get a little bit of value back for him. But nope, just straight up waived him. And another bad move by us. He's gone and signed a 2-year deal with the Lakers. They obviously needed a much needed big man.
Competent.
I don't know
think is the word
how
I'm
much
looking
we're going to be paying DeAndre Ayton to have waived him. I hope it's not too much because obviously he's not. I think he was only 1 year left on his deal with
for. He's got a
Portland,
pretty
though.
big contract though, eh?
Yeah. So we'll see how many years we had to stretch that out to.
Yeah.
But yeah, big signing for the Lakers in my opinion. They needed a big man. They got their big man. I think there's probably some better options out there. But
I still don't think I think the Lakers were struggling defensively when it came to their center position. I don't think DeAndre Ayton is the greatest defender I've ever seen.
no, I wouldn't say he's terrible. I'd say he's like average.
Far better than Jackson Hayes, though.
Yeah.
God, that guy sucks.
Yeah.
And they re-signed him as well. We didn't put that down, but Jackson Hayes re-signed on a 1-year deal.
And he got a no trade clause in that 1 year deal as well. He's become like the 13th player in NBA history with a no trade clause. Jackson Hayes.
He sucks. No offense to the man.
No, he does. I think he's whoever his agent is. Props to that guy for managing to get him a no trade clause with the Lakers.
Yeah, I used to live in LA for another year.
Yeah, he obviously knew that. Rob Pelinka's most likely going to want to try and shop me somewhere else. So I better try and get a no trade clause so that I can get that ring if they do win.
Yeah, I mean, smart.
Yeah.
Smart. I don't know how good they go next season.
As for the Blazers, I mean, our off season has just been. I mean, we traded away Anthony Simons and 2 second-round picks for Drew Holiday.
You don't even know if Drew Holiday's going to play for you guys yet.
I mean, I've already broken that down in a previous episode. And now we waived DeAndre Ayton for nothing. And we still have Jeremy Grant on contract, one of the worst contracts in the league. Rob Will, who we really need to desperately move because as of now, he's our third-string center behind Donovan Clingan and Young Hansen, who's my new guy. So yeah, we need to get rid of Rob Will ASAP. But so far, I'd give our off-season moves maybe like a C+.
Really done anything?
Yeah.
So.
I mean,
would you even give it a pass grade?
I mean, yeah, actually, it's an F. Like the 2 moves we have made have been both bad. So how can I give it anything more than an F?
Yeah, Drew Holiday doesn't fit your timeline.
No.
Good locker room guy. He's like Chris Paul when Chris Paul was on the Thunder in the bubble.
I mean, he does. Like, I've been talking myself into this more as it's gone on, but he fits our mold of, like, defense first. I think if he does end up playing for us, like, hear me out. I'm not being biased. I think we're going to have one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Tamani Kamara, elite defender. Drew Holiday, elite defender. Denny Avdia's a good defender.
Don't say Shaden Sharp.
Shaden Sharp is, like, average, but hopefully he can get better over the season.
And Donovan Clingan's a good shot blocker.
Donovan Clingan's good interior defender.
He'll start this year,
we'll yeah, for sure.
Okay, fair enough.
What about the
Clippers
movements?
signings? We haven't made many, but what we have done is signed Nick Batum to a 2-year deal. I thought he was retiring. Obviously, he said, nope, I want to still try to get a ring.
How old is he?
Old, like mid to late 30s.
Damn.
Maybe he'd be up there as one of the older players in the league.
2-year deal as well.
2-year, I think, $11.5 million. So we've brought him back. Obviously, he was on, was it the Sixers? And then he came back. He was on the team, left the team, came back to the team. He obviously likes it in LA. And we signed some much-needed big man cover as well. Brook Lopez on a 2-year deal to come off the bench behind Ivica Zubac, which I think is like an A signing for us. And the signing wasn't huge. I think it was $18 million for 2 years. So not too bad. Brook Lopez obviously gives us that much needed stretch 5 cover, which we haven't had in a long time.
Yeah.
And he's also one of the better shot blockers in the league too. So defensively, that 5-man spot on the Clippers is very good. Yeah. Zubac was a DPOY candidate this year, as well as an MIP candidate. And now we have Brook Lopez, who is a veteran center, to teach Zubac a few things, I'm sure. Maybe a 3-point jump shot on the way. Highly unlikely, but Zubac obviously will still start. He's been flourished last year as a top 10 center, and now Brook Lopez is here too. So I'm very happy with the signing.
I think, yeah, like you said, Brook Lopez is probably one of the best big man shooters from beyond the arc in the league. Probably top 5, dare I say, at the center position. So he can also just give you that other extra look, like if Zubac is maybe struggling a little bit, and you need a big who can come in and offer that threat from 3. Sub Brook Lopez in, go on a little bit of a heater for 5 minutes before you bring Zubac back in. I think it's perfect.
It's a great signing. I think it's good. We haven't made many signings, but mostly keeping that core team that we already have. Amir Coffey's a free agent. He struggled with injury at the end of the year. Don't think we'll be seeing him back in a Clippers uniform, but that core of our team still there, and I think that's exciting considering what we almost could have done last playoffs. If we'd been in the Nuggets, I think we could have gone on a pretty deep run. And quietly, the biggest news that probably has thrown a spanner in the works for you. Damian Lillard was waived by the Milwaukee Bucks to make room to sign Miles Turner to a 4-year, $107 million deal. Damian Lillard was waived. Where does this... How?
I've already heard it enough from you guys. I mean, I woke up to this news. I didn't even get the Shams notification yet, and I'd already been getting Snapchat notifications from you lot bloody saying, Shame, your favourite player, your GOAT, has been waived. Like, honestly, just give me some time to, like, grieve, mate. Yeah, I can't believe that they'd waive one of the greatest players of all time.
Oh, that's not even top...
He's top 75, so...
Yes,
he's probably, like, he'll be top 50 by the time his career's done.
He needs to win something.
He will.
No. But yeah, he's not on a team, mate.
This is the biggest...
He's not on a team. How's he going to win anything?
Next year's a write-off anyway.
Oh, yeah. He will miss the whole season.
But yeah, anyway, the details of this move he had 2 years left on his deal. Obviously, he wasn't going to be playing next year at all, so they were essentially going to be paying him for like 1 year. They decided to waive him and stretch out his contract to 5 years. So for the next 5 years, the Bucks are going to be paying him $22 million a year.
It's Lamar Odom Lakers.
And apparently, Dame was ecstatic about this news.
Really?
Yes, he was so happy.
Giannis wasn't.
So I'm happy because Dame's happy.
Giannis was pissed.
Yeah, but was he? There's also rumors that maybe Giannis knew. And Dame.
So he just did it for the media.
Yeah.
For the hype.
I think there might be a bit of beef between Dame and Giannis there now.
Wow.
They
so
obviously
Dame's really happy that this
he's
is happening.
ecstatic that this happened.
Why? Just because he's getting free money?
I don't think. I mean, it's been quite well known since he left Portland to join Milwaukee. He did not enjoy his time in Milwaukee.
Oh, really?
His whole family, his kids are back in Portland. He goes back there every off season, and he's kind of just hated being away from his family in Milwaukee.
He didn't take his family with him?
No, well, he split up with his wife, and they stick with the.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I don't know that happened.
Also, he tried to. Obviously, next year he's having the whole year off to rehab his Achilles, and he wanted to go back and do that in Portland with his family. And apparently, the Bucks were completely against this idea, which also made him. Yeah.
What?
They wanted him to stay in Milwaukee to rehab his Achilles, as if it
Milwaukee
mattered.
stuff.
Yeah. And this further just pushed the narrative of him not enjoying being in Milwaukee. So yeah, he was ecstatic that this move happened, and it made way for the Bucks to be able to afford to sign Miles Turner to a 4-year, $107 million deal. But now they're essentially paying him like $50 million a year, Miles Turner, because they're still paying
22
Dame
on the top.
So I think this is an L move overall for the Bucks.
I mean, they needed that big man. They needed a competent big man with Brook Lopez being.
He kind of is just a Brook Lopez.
I think he's a better.
He's
Brook
better
Lopez.
at everything.
I honestly was expecting Miles Turner to remain at the Pacers.
Yeah.
After the run that they just had and him being the longest tenured Pacers player at the club, I thought he would have hung around. But for him to move on, he obviously wants to chase a ring. And just quietly, if Giannis is on the court, you have a chance at winning a championship. And that is a given. I think...
Don't fancy their chances without Dame now, though. You got Kevin Porter Jr. as your starting point guard.
Who didn't look horrible at the end of last season.
Yeah, he looked alright.
Torian Prince and Gary Trent returned. Torian Prince was pretty good last season, along with Gary Trent in the back end of the season, despite him struggling early on. They're not bad. They have Giannis.
If they couldn't get
They
it
have
done,
one of the best players in the league.
if they couldn't get it done with Dame and Giannis, what do you think is going to change with them getting
Dame didn't
it done
play
with
in the
Miles
playoffs.
and Giannis?
Well, they
Yeah.
lost to the Pacers in the first round, and everyone was freaking out. But that actually turned out to not be a big deal, considering the Pacers made it all the way to the NBA Finals without Dame.
Quickly highlight how bad the Pacers are going to be next year. From a finals appearance to no Miles Turner, no Tyrese Halliburton with the Achilles injuries. Pascal Siakam is going to have to lead this team to a playoff.
And TJ McConnell is going to start at point guard.
Yeah. Or Nemhard.
Or Nemhard. I don't
Either
even know.
or.
They haven't signed anyone, so I'm not really sure what
I think they
doing.
might miss the playoffs. Maybe a play-in team.
Nah, the East sucks, let's be honest.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the deal, yeah. I'm happy because Dame's happy that he's been waived. He's going to be getting paid free money for the next 5 years.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And it'll be interesting to see what happens with him if he decides to just not sign with the team for this whole next year and just rehab his Achilles by himself. Or if he does sign with a team. I've seen rumors out there. The 3 teams that were mostly rumored were the Lakers, the Warriors, and the Celtics.
Not Portland?
Portland's also an option, but I don't think he really fits our timeline now. I'd love to have him back just because he's our figure, our icon in Portland. But maybe he signs like a 1-year deal with Portland to rehab his Achilles and mentor Scoot or something, and they pay him $5 million to do that. I don't know.
Like a 1-year vet minimum or something.
I've also seen rumors. Celtics was quite high on his list apparently because Jason Tatum's also suffered an Achilles injury, and they could do their rehab together over there in Boston,
Tatum will
which
be
I
out
quite
for
like the
longer,
idea
though,
of.
because Dame's was a partial tear, right?
Yeah.
Tatum's was a full rupture.
Yeah, they
So-
reckon Dame will be back for playoffs if he's on a team that makes the playoffs.
Oh, really?
So
Nine-
there is
nine-
kind of an incentive to sign him there.
It was 9 to 12 months since the injury, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it is possible he could be back for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Interesting news to wrap up free agency there. We'll keep you guys tuned with what happens if he signs with another team by next episode. But yeah, that's all for this week. Bunch of free agency, junior tool blacks, and we've got our NZNBL playoffs set. So stay tuned for next week's episode, where I think he said, Finn, the finals will be set.
I think it will be, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Cheers.